Most people have been told that cholesterol is dangerous, that it clogs arteries, and that lowering it should be your top health priority. But what if I told you that explanation is incomplete, outdated, and in many cases simply wrong? Today you are going to see cholesterol in a completely different way, and once you understand this, you will never look at your lab report the same again. Cholesterol is not a toxin. It is not a poison. It is one of the most essential building blocks in your entire body. Every cell membrane you have depends on it for stability and communication. Your brain, which is mostly fat, relies heavily on cholesterol to function properly. Your hormones, including testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol, are made from cholesterol. So if it were truly dangerous, your body would not manufacture it so carefully and protect it so fiercely. Here is where the misunderstanding begins. When most doctors look at a standard blood test, they focus almost entirely on total cholesterol, or LDL, and label them good or bad. That sounds simple, but biology is not simple. LDL is not actually bad by itself. It is a transport vehicle, like a delivery truck carrying nutrients through your bloodstream. Blaming LDL for heart disease is like blaming ambulances for accidents because they show up at crash sites. The real question is not how much cholesterol you have, but why it is being used and whether it is being damaged. Damage is the key word. Cholesterol becomes a problem only when it is oxidized or inflamed, which usually happens because of high sugar intake, processed foods, smoking, chronic stress, or insulin resistance. In other words, the issue is not cholesterol itself, but the environment your body is living in. If your metabolic health is poor, cholesterol particles can become injured, and your immune system responds by trying to repair the damage. That repair process is what contributes to plaque buildup. So the plaque is actually evidence of injury and healing, not proof that cholesterol is the villain. Think about this carefully. If cholesterol were the main cause of heart disease, then lowering it aggressively would always reduce risk. Yet many people suffer heart attacks with normal cholesterol levels, while others live long lives with numbers that would be labeled high. This contradiction is a clue that we have been asking the wrong question. Instead of asking how low your cholesterol can go, the smarter question is what is driving inflammation in your body and what your metabolic markers are saying about your health. When you shift your focus to insulin levels, triglycerides, waist size, blood pressure, and blood sugar stability, you start to see a much clearer picture of cardiovascular risk. And this is empowering because it means you are not a victim of your cholesterol number. You can influence these deeper drivers every single day through what you eat, how you move, how you sleep, and how you manage stress starting right now today. Now let's go deeper, because understanding cholesterol requires looking beyond the basic numbers printed on your lab sheet. Most standard tests measure total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. Those are useful, but they are only surface markers. They do not tell you the size of your LDL particles, how inflamed your blood vessels are, or how much oxidative stress is happening inside your body. Two people can have identical cholesterol panels, yet have completely different levels of heart disease risk. That is why relying only on total cholesterol can be misleading and sometimes dangerously oversimplified. What matters far more is metabolic context. When insulin levels stay high for long periods, which commonly happens when someone eats frequent meals full of refined carbohydrates and sugar, the body shifts into fat storage mode. High insulin also signals the liver to produce more triglycerides and changes LDL particles into smaller, denser forms. These small, dense particles are more likely to penetrate artery walls and become oxidized. That is the real problem. It is not the cholesterol cargo itself, it is the particle damage combined with inflammation that creates risk. HDL, often called good cholesterol, plays the role of a recycling system. It helps carry damaged cholesterol away from tissues and back to the liver for processing. But simply having a high HDL number does not automatically protect you if inflammation is raging in the background. Think of HDL as a cleanup crew. If there is constant damage happening, even a large cleanup crew can struggle to keep up. The goal should be to reduce the damage in the first place, not just measure how many cleanup workers you have. This is why lifestyle patterns matter more than most people realize. Diets heavy in ultra-processed foods, industrial seed oils, and sugary drinks promote oxidation and inflammation. Lack of sleep raises stress hormones that worsen blood sugar control. Chronic psychological stress signals your body to stay in a defensive state, which increases inflammatory chemicals. Physical inactivity reduces your ability to burn glucose efficiently, leaving more sugar circulating in your bloodstream, where it can damage proteins and fats, including cholesterol particles. When you step back and connect these dots, cholesterol stops looking like the enemy and starts looking like a messenger. Elevated levels can be a signal that your body is responding to stress, repairing tissue, or transporting energy. Instead of panicking at the number, you should become curious about the reason. Curiosity leads to better questions, and better questions lead to better health decisions. The people who improve their metabolic health are not the ones obsessing over a single lab value. They are the ones who change daily habits in ways that calm inflammation, stabilize insulin, and support the body's natural repair systems. And when those systems work smoothly, cholesterol can finally do the job it was designed to do, which is protect cells, fuel hormones, and keep your brain functioning at its absolute best every single day without unnecessary fear or confusion whatsoever. Another major reason confusion exists about cholesterol is that medication has been presented as the primary solution instead of the final option. Many people believe that once their cholesterol number crosses a certain line, a pill is the automatic next step. But numbers do not exist in isolation, and your body is not a math equation. Before medication is considered, it is critical to understand what your cholesterol is responding to. Your liver produces cholesterol on purpose, not by accident. It increases production when it senses inflammation, hormonal demand, tissue repair, or stress signals. So if your level is elevated, the intelligent question is what signal is telling your liver to make more. One of the strongest signals is insulin resistance. When cells stop responding properly to insulin, the pancreas releases more of it to compensate. Elevated insulin tells the liver to manufacture more fat particles, including triglycerides and cholesterol carriers. This process is not a mistake. It is a survival mechanism designed to move excess fuel out of the bloodstream. The tragedy is that modern lifestyles keep insulin high all day through constant snacking, sugary drinks, and refined starches. The body never gets a break, so cholesterol transport stays elevated as well. Another overlooked factor is inflammation from sources that have nothing to do with food. Poor sleep, for example, raises cortisol and increases blood sugar even if you eat perfectly. Environmental toxins, chronic infections, and unresolved emotional stress can all push the immune system into a persistent low-grade inflammatory state. When inflammation is present, cholesterol is deployed like a biological bandage. It helps repair cell membranes and supports immune defenses. So seeing higher cholesterol can sometimes mean your body is actively protecting you, not harming you. This perspective changes how you should interpret risk. Instead of asking how fast you can lower cholesterol, you should ask how quickly you can lower inflammation and improve insulin sensitivity. Those goals address root causes rather than surface symptoms. When people switch to whole foods, reduce sugar, prioritize sleep, build muscle through resistance training, and spend time managing stress, their metabolic markers often improve together. Triglycerides fall, HDL rises, blood sugar stabilizes, waistlines shrink, and yes, cholesterol patterns often shift naturally without extreme interventions. The empowering truth is that your daily habits send instructions to your genes and organs. Every meal, every hour of sleep, every step you take tells your metabolism what environment it is living in. If that environment signals safety and balance, your body regulates cholesterol efficiently. If it signals chaos and overload, your body compensates defensively. Cholesterol is not your enemy. It is your responder. When you understand that, you stop fighting your biology and start working with it, which is where real, lasting health transformation truly begins. And that is why the smartest strategy is not fear-driven treatment, but informed action. Because when you correct the cause, the numbers follow, the risk drops, and your confidence in your health grows stronger every single day steadily. Let's talk about one of the biggest myths that keeps people stuck in fear, and that is the belief that lower cholesterol is always better. It sounds logical on the surface, but physiology does not work in extremes. Your body operates on balance, not minimums. Cholesterol that is too low can actually create problems because it is essential for brain function, hormone production, vitamin absorption, and nerve signaling. Studies have shown associations between very low cholesterol and increased risks of mood disorders, memory issues, and hormone imbalances. That should immediately tell you cholesterol is not simply a waste product to eliminate. It is a resource your body carefully regulates. Think about your brain for a moment. It contains a very high concentration of cholesterol because nerve cells rely on it to transmit signals efficiently. If cholesterol were dangerous by nature, your brain would not depend on it so heavily. The same is true for your endocrine system. Hormones that control metabolism, stress response, fertility, and muscle growth are synthesized from cholesterol molecules. When levels drop too low, your body may struggle to produce these hormones in optimal amounts. This can affect energy, mood, sleep, and even your ability to recover from exercise or illness. Another point rarely explained is that cholesterol levels naturally rise with age. This is not necessarily a defect. As the body ages, it often needs more repair support, more hormone stability, and more cellular maintenance. Cholesterol participates in all of these processes, automatically labeling higher levels in older adults as dangerous ignores the possibility that the body is adapting intelligently. Context matters. A number without context is just a number, but a number interpreted alongside inflammation markers, insulin levels, metabolic health, and lifestyle habits becomes meaningful information. You also need to understand that not all cholesterol patterns signal the same risk. Someone with high LDL but low triglycerides and high HDL often has a very different metabolic profile than someone with moderate LDL but high triglycerides and low HDL. The second pattern is frequently associated with insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction, which are stronger predictors of cardiovascular problems. Yet many people are never told this distinction. They are simply told their cholesterol is high and that they should worry. Fear without understanding does not improve health. Clarity does. Real health education empowers you to interpret your labs like clues instead of verdicts. Each marker tells part of a story about how your body is functioning internally. When you learn to read that story, you gain control. You can adjust nutrition, activity, stress management, and sleep patterns based on feedback from your own biology. That is far more powerful than blindly chasing a target number. The goal is not to force cholesterol down at any cost. The goal is to create an internal environment where your body naturally regulates it correctly. When you do that, you shift from reacting to lab results to actively shaping them. And that is the moment people stop feeling confused about their health and start feeling capable, informed, and truly in charge of their future well-being. So where does this leave you right now, especially if you have been worried about your cholesterol numbers or confused by conflicting advice? It leaves you in a powerful position because now you understand that cholesterol is not a standalone villain, but part of a much larger story about metabolic health. The smartest next step is not panic and not blind acceptance. It is informed action. When you approach your health from a root cause perspective, you stop chasing lab numbers and start changing the environment inside your body that produced those numbers in the first place. Start with nutrition because what you eat sends the strongest signals to your metabolism. Focus on whole, unprocessed foods that stabilize blood sugar rather than spike it. Prioritize quality proteins, natural fats, and fiber-rich vegetables that help regulate insulin levels. Reduce refined sugars and ultra-processed carbohydrates that keep insulin elevated and promote inflammation. This does not mean perfection. It means consistency. The body responds far more to patterns than to occasional meals. If most of your choices support metabolic balance, your internal chemistry begins shifting in your favor. Next is movement, which acts like a metabolic reset switch. Regular physical activity improves insulin sensitivity, helps muscles absorb glucose, lowers inflammation, and supports healthy lipid transport. You do not need extreme workouts. Strength training a few times per week, combined with daily walking, can dramatically improve metabolic markers over time. Movement tells your body that energy is being used, which reduces the need to keep excess fuel circulating in the bloodstream. That alone can influence cholesterol patterns more than people expect. Sleep is another cornerstone that is often underestimated. When you sleep poorly, stress hormones rise, blood sugar control worsens, and inflammatory signals increase. 1 or 2 bad nights might not matter, but chronic sleep deprivation can disrupt your metabolic system significantly. Aim for consistent sleep timing and a dark, cool environment so your body can perform its nightly repair processes efficiently. During deep sleep, your system recalibrates hormones, repairs tissues, and restores balance. Without that restoration, no diet or exercise plan can fully compensate. Finally, do not overlook stress. Chronic stress keeps your nervous system in a constant alert state, which drives inflammation and hormonal imbalance. Practices like deep breathing, prayer, meditation, journaling, or quiet time outdoors can shift your body into a recovery state where healing happens. This is not luxury. It is biology. When your system senses safety, it regulates itself better, including how it manages cholesterol transport and repair. When you put all these pieces together, you begin working with your physiology instead of against it. Cholesterol stops being something you fear and becomes something you understand. And understanding removes anxiety, replaces confusion with clarity, and gives you a practical roadmap forward. That is the real message most people were never taught. Your body is not broken. It is responding. Support it correctly, and it will often correct itself, guiding you towards stronger health, steadier energy, clearer thinking, and a future where your lab